Hi, I'm at the Chester Storyhouse, where last night I saw Avenue Q. Today I'm joined by Tom Steeden and Megan Armstrong. Lovely to meet you, Tom.
Lovely to meet you.
Megan.
Lovely to meet you too.
I'm also joined by some of their alter egos. I think we have
Trekkie Monster.
and the Bad Idea Bears.
Yep, we've got Blue Bear and Yellow Bear.
So you actually handle these puppets, don't you, in the show? But for the people that haven't seen the show yet, can you tell us a little bit about it? What? I mean, it's a musical. It's puppets on stage with
Yeah.
operators.
Muppets for adults.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of putting it. An unaffiliated Muppets for adults.
Yeah, I think when I saw the show 4 or 5 years ago, I called it Sesame Street for adults. But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, essentially, it's what happens when puppets grow up.
Right?
Yes.
And the struggles along the way.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about this though is that most people come away thinking it's a puppet show about puppet sex, when in fact there's just one scene that's got a rather animated
Yeah, but it does go
demonstration.
on. It does
yes,
go on.
yes, it's true. So it's quite interesting when people come away and that's what
Yeah.
they've taken from it, you know.
But-
I mean, it has to be one of the most politically incorrect shows that I've come across.
Ooh, I don't know, you know.
Or is
It
it
could-
just dare to say what isn't
Yeah.
usually said, I
The
think.
thing is as well, I think, okay, politically incorrect or just socially unacceptable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think some of the things, I think what it is like because it was originally written to be a TV show.
That's right. Wasn't
So-
it going to be Hamlet with Kermit?
Something like that.
That's one time I read.
Yeah, it's like, so this is kind of almost a TV show on stage, if you like.
Yeah.
So I think it's that peering into the window of people's lives, and a lot of the songs are stand-ups as well. Like everyone's a little bit racist, is as stereotypical as you could get, whilst sending up big music, a bit like Spamalot in some respects.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I think each song is something that I think it's so relatable. Everything, there's always a bit of the show where someone is like, my friend came to watch and she was like, I am Kate Monster. She's like, that is my life. And I was like, that's what's so nice about it, because it does speak the truth through all of the hilarity and
Interestingly, nobody ever
naughtiness.
says they're like him, but
Well, I
Not out
don't
loud.
know.
No.
I mean, he's got some interesting thoughts on the internet, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, how much work has had to go into learning how to work the puppets or to become a puppeteer? Because you're a masterclass.
He is. He's fantastic.
Well-
It's kind of ongoing, isn't it? The work
Yeah.
never stops with it, because there's always, first of all, it's the physical nature of it, that it doesn't actually look that demanding, but the actual position of doing this and for such a long amount
Yeah.
of time is, first of all, physically taxing, but then there's the focus of the puppet, and all of the human characteristics, which you have to kind of do yourself and try and put it into the puppet. You think, what would I do as a human, and try and put it into the puppet and how they would be.
What I found incredible during last night's performance was it's a musical on stage with puppets. The puppeteers are bigger than the puppets, so they're highly visible. But 10 minutes into the show, I didn't notice you were there. I was watching the puppets, which is testimony to how great the puppets are, the puppeteers are, the lighting, and technically, the show is a masterpiece.
I think the just going back to the puppetry thing. Just going back.
Shall I take that away
yeah,
from you?
thank you. Going back to the puppetry thing, I think like you said about it being human. I think that's also another reason why there are human characters in the show, because they have that kind of, they retain that kind of the emotion that these inanimate objects don't have. Close their ears. But interestingly, a lot of people do come away and they say, oh, I'm sure the puppet was blinking at one point, or I'm sure it was like frowning or smiling. But I think, again, just to do with the writing, how clever it is,
Yeah.
like as soon as Princeton comes on in the first part of the first act, you're introduced to the concept straight away. Human operating a puppet. It takes a while. Then you get a human character come on with a human operating a puppet. Then more's added.
Yes.
So it's kind of drip fed very quickly. And that's kind of like
An oxymoron?
yeah, in some respects.
Yeah.
But you're introduced to that concept, and as soon as you're in, you're in.
Yeah, and there is no willful suspension of disbelief. The disbelief just isn't there. It's,
Well, no, and it was actually, just to give you some background on it, it was that concept was actually developed with original Jim Henson puppeteers.
That's right.
And they wanted to showcase their versatility in their respective roles. So that's why you have, like, I played Nikki, Trekkie, and the Bad Idea Bear. You're Mrs. T, and a Bad Idea Bear, and my second arm. And you've got Kate and Lucy, played by Cecily, and Princeton and Rob, played by Lawrence. And
It's the 4 puppeteers on stage.
Yeah, and
doing all the characters.
and the voices. So that's why they're doubled up like that.
Well, that's it. How demanding are the voices? Because they are incredible.
With Trekkie,
Because Chucky's down here when he speaks, you know. And Nikki's up a little bit up in the middle somewhere. And
The Bad Idea Bear's up there. So, and mine's even higher.
yeah.
so for me, this is more demanding than it was when I played Princeton and Rod, because
Yes.
the jumps, there's 3 jumps, and
Yeah.
they're very extreme. But actually, I find it easier because the voices are more distinct.
Yes.
Where with Princeton and Rod, you've got a light, bright, wide-eyed graduate,
Yes.
and Rod, who's quite uptight and highly strung, which gives you a very similar playing field with regards to voices. So it is a challenge, that role.
Whereas these voices that you do couldn't be
Yeah,
more different,
yeah,
really,
exactly,
could they?
yeah.
Which helps you, you know,
Yeah.
and helps the audience as well distinguish between everything.
He's nice, isn't he?
Oh,
It's scary, but nice. His eyes really are blinking.
blinky, blinky.
I can see there's a puppeteer there. I can see. But he's not there. High five. So tell me about the experience in the bar with the Bad Idea Bears and what was her name? Lucy Slut?
Lucy the Slut.
Oh, me love Lucy Slaughter. Oh my God, big boy. Oh,
Yeah, Princeton does as well.
Yeah,
Better
they
come on.
all love her.
Trekkie has a song quite early into the musical, doesn't he? Which is all about the internet. And
That's my favorite one.
is it?
well, people say it's a showstopper. I would tend to agree with that.
Last night you had virtually a full house. Everybody was enjoying it. Standing ovation at the end. I don't think there were any
For me?
showstoppers. Well, absolutely for you.
Everyone's standing to attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. So, guys, this is a long tour. You're going through till October, aren't you? You're in Chester until this weekend. Where are you off to next?
Well, we've actually got a week off.
We've got a week off.
Yeah,
Our
so I'm
only
off to
one-
Budapest.
Very nice.
I'm just sleeping. For a week,
Okay.
I think rejuvenating because we basically then go through the whole summer, don't we?
Yeah. Until the end of October.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
a big tour.
It is. It's really nice to have that amount of time with a show like this, which is such a challenge and a new skill for almost everyone in the show as well, to really sort of get a chance to hone.
Yeah. I mean, the direction and the choreography, as well as the puppetry, the voices, the acting, it's all there, isn't it? There's something for everybody.
Yeah, and I think actually it's the biggest compliment when people say, well, you have to learn many things, and learning this is one of them, is when people say, God, it looks so easy. That's a compliment, because it's one of the hardest jobs I've done.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm sure it is.
And I'm a sucker for punishment, I think, because I came back and did it again. But I'm obsessed and have been obsessed with puppetry since I've been very young.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my grandfather built me a puppet house and got me all the Punch and Judy puppets, and I was doing puppet shows from like 8 years old.
Good
So
God.
when I trained in musical theatre, this came up, and Julie Atherton, who was playing Kate Monster at the time, was a mentor of mine, and she said, you need to sing Purpose. And as soon as I figured out what it was, I was like, okay, I've got to do this. And then I did, and then she came to my opening night.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Tom, Megan, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank
I
you.
I hope you have a great run and rest of the tour. If you fancy seeing Avenue Q, it's on at the Chester Storyhouse until this weekend. Alternatively, it is touring nationally right the way through till October, so have a look at their website or have a look at a theatre near you. I'm sure it'll be coming very soon. Thank you very much indeed. It was
Thank
lovely
you.
to
You're
meet
welcome.
you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Off they go.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's-